It's Monday night, September 17th, 2018. It is the fallout from Monday Night Raw, one night removed from Hell in a Cell. I'm Justin LaBar alongside Wrestling Inc. owner Raj Giri. Raj, how are you tonight?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good. We anxiously await Mr. Matt Morgan, who, of course, will make an entrance that I'm sure that is suitable for a man of his stature.
Unless he fell asleep. He's been busy. So hopefully he makes it. We're not sure. Not promising anything.
Tough work having to be politician by day and Wrestling Inc. Pundit at night.
Yeah, Rock can be a long show to watch.
Yes, it can be. Well, overall, before we go into segment by segment, are you happy you watched all 3 hours, or was it a regret?
You know what? I actually thought most of Raw tonight was pretty good. It wasn't super exciting or anything. It didn't have me. A lot of it seemed redundant, like a replay of what they've been doing like last month. The Ascension and Bobby Roode and Chad Gable is a perfect example of that. And then the brawl with the Shield and whatever they're calling themselves, the Wolf, not the Wolf Pack, but whatever they're called.
I was hoping I was hoping they wouldn't be together long enough to need a name.
Yeah, well, it's looking like they will be. So, that just seems like they're kind of running in place. There's nothing really new going on with that. So as far as storyline, things moving forward, there wasn't much of that, but it was, I thought, a pretty easy show to watch, just long. There was not much moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, there were some things different. We saw a few fresh matchups, but I'm just gonna say it. No matter how interesting a Brock Lesnar storyline might be, no matter how rare an Undertaker appearance might be, pretty much no matter what you put in this, I talk about this a lot with the 2-hour format with Glenn on Wednesdays talking SmackDown. I don't think it's possible for them to do 3 hours of like a show that goes, wow, I want to see this again. I think it's literally by the format that they have to go by, which is they have to rehash things. They need to bring viewers in who are coming in hour 2 or hour 3. I think it's almost probably nearly impossible for them to have 3 solid hours of a great show, and that's not because they don't have the talent, but it's just because the way they format things. It's just in multiple segment matches and just the way they go to breaks. I don't think it's possible anymore. I think you're never going to get 3 solid hours where you're like, man, start to finish, that was great. I think you're always going to have some dead periods moving forward.
Yeah, it's just before the night after a pay-per-view, it would feel more fresh. You'd see a lot of new storylines coming up as opposed to just kind of keeping going with the current ones. I mean, you do got Brock Lesnar thrown into the mix now, but other than that, it just seems like mostly just it's kind of the same stuff.
Well, Roman Reigns opens the show. He comes to the ring, so we've seen this many a times. Reigns comes to the ring, obviously talking that he wants a piece of Brock Lesnar. He's quickly interrupted by Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman says it's the second time he's been screwed out of winning the Universal Championship by Brock Lesnar, so he should be first in line to get a piece. And then we end up finding out from Baron Corbin, Constable Corbin, that we are going to have a quite the triple threat, and it's a triple threat that for a while it's a triple threat that makes sense. I mean, these guys have crossed paths so much. I mean, it does make sense to see, I suppose, based upon the booking recently and then into Sunday night. But at the Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia, the next Saudi Arabia show in November, they're going to have a triple threat for the Universal Championship where Roman Reigns will defend it against both Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar. And this, of course, then brings out Paul Heyman, who just cuts a little promo to remind everybody that Brock Lesnar's big business and he will once again be the champion.
Yeah, and Matt just texted he should be on here shortly. Man, it's getting confusing with all these shows that they're promoting at the same time. You got Hell in a Cell, now you got Crown Jewel, you got Evolution, and Super Showdown. And a lot of the matches are kind of similar. You got AJ and Samoa Joe at Super Showdown. I'm sure you're going to have AJ and Samoa Joe, in some form. Well, actually, probably not, because I guess at Super Showdown, whoever wins Daniel Bryan and The Miz is the new #1 contender. Mm-hmm. So, it's kind of hard to keep track of right now. It's pretty insane, the number of shows that they're kind of promoting.
Well, I mean, WWE is getting so much money for these shows, and we've heard about the next decade doing Saudi Arabia and the money that the royal family is giving them, and I'm torn because on the one hand, I can certainly just say, okay, these international shows are just going to be basically glorified, what we say in the States, house shows, where you're not expecting, any great movement in the storyline, and it's just, just glorified. You might get an Undertaker appearance or John Cena or Triple H appearance, but nothing more. On the one hand, I would say that, but then on the other hand, this is not going to slow down. They are going to continue adding on. This is going to become more of the norm, where we talk about them having to promote multiple big international shows in a 2-month period. I wonder, are they going to, as we see stuff with the Undertaker, which we'll talk about, and we're seeing some of these things. I mean, is it going to get to a point where it's going to make WrestleMania tough for WWE to put together and make they're rolling out these names, and we see Cena versus Triple H back in Saudi Arabia before. Now we're now we're seeing, the Brothers of Destruction and DX basically potentially here in these next couple shows. Like, at what point is it going to make WrestleMania almost impossible to top what they're doing for these international spot shows?
Right, and we're looking at possibly, was it 5 Undertaker matches this year? We had WrestleMania, Madison Square Garden, the 2 Saudi Arabias, and the Super Showdown. And 3 of those are these international spot shows. So, yeah, to your point, they are kind of like glorified live events in that if you miss it, you don't really miss much as far as storyline progression. At least that's how the first Saudi Arabia show was. Mm-hmm. Nothing, the Reigns-Lesnar match was probably the most consequential thing. I think you had Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt winning the tag titles, but, so, yeah, I mean, it's seeming like they're pushing these next 2 shows more than they did the last Saudi Arabia show. That last Saudi Arabia show, they just kind of mentioned the one match, and they didn't push anything too hard on it. Whereas it seems like they're pushing these matches a lot harder for these.
Well, yeah, the last Saudi show was just the Great Royal Rumble, the greatest. Just you're going to see 50 guys.
Right, but you had the Reigns and Lesnar steel cage match, and they kind of did a 1-week build for that. They barely mentioned Cena and Triple H. Yeah, it was kind of, most of the matches were kind of an afterthought, considering the level of star power they had.
I just find this show fascinating. So we're hearing about, we keep hearing more and more. I know Rusev had revealed recently in an interview that was on Wrestling Inc. About how he got put in the match with Undertaker, pulled off, and then he got put back on, and the Prince, I guess, they wanted Rusev to be in the match. It's like, this guy's getting like a booking credit. He gets to help book with Vince McMahon what he wants to see in this match. I just find that in this show. I just find that kind of crazy.
Yeah, there's kind of conflicting reports on that, because one story is that Jericho was put in, and then Vince found out about that he was going to be facing Tetsuya Naito in June, and then decided to pull Jericho. So it's depending on who you believe. Hey, Matt, how are you doing?
What's up, boys? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you good.
We can hear you.
Okay, cool.
Well, Matt, we're just in the opening segment of Raw, which the big headline to take away from this was Brock Lesnar is going to once again be challenging for the Universal Championship in Saudi Arabia. Triple threat: Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns.
Did not predict that. Did you guys?
No.
No, definitely did not.
I don't know how I feel about it, though. I mean, is Roman is Roman? He's now the champion. Is he the top guy?
Yeah, and I will say this, last year at SummerSlam, you also had Samoa Joe, but you had Braun, Brock, and Roman, and that match was one of the best matches of last year. I mean, those guys.
Don't forget that. It was.
Yeah. So, it'll be interesting to see Brock coming back. It seems, who knows with Brock anymore. It's hard to say, like, he's going to be gone, and we won't see him until after his UFC title fight, because
when is it?
They haven't officially announced it yet. He still hasn't officially signed with UFC. So he's training for the fight. I mean, you look at him, he's definitely looks different.
This is the lightest I've ever seen him.
Yeah. Ever.
Ever.
But, they wanted to do it January, February of next year. So it allows him to do this match and get back to training. So, he's going to be making at least over $1 million now for this one match. So
what?
Yeah, he's getting 7 figures to go to Saudi Arabia. Think about that, Matt Morgan.
And Shawn Michaels probably is too. I think Shawn's probably getting 7 figures for coming out of retirement for one more match.
In Saudi Arabia, do they give WWE this money specifically? Say, hey, here's $1 million to bring Brock Lesnar.
Well, it seems like these shows are basically ran like paid shows on the independents. Basically, Saudi Arabia is giving WWE X amount of dollars, and then WWE just puts it down.
Yeah, so it was between 40 to 50 million for the last show. So like 45 million. WrestleMania, oh man, I was going to look this up, but it doesn't do near that. It grossed near that for WWE. So it makes a lot more than WrestleMania. So
here's a question for you, Raj. This is $1 billion company, correct? Still, okay. So do you look at this and see them because it feels very independent to me? With them saying, hey, bring in this guy, we'll give you the money for it. It feels exactly what he just described it as, actually. A little independent ran. I know it's not being ran independently, but that's what it feels like. And therefore, it gives me a little bit less of a big-time feel that WWE has always given me, this major league feeling. Like they're hard up for money kind of thing, which I can't imagine they are. Mm-hmm. It's just weird. It makes them look smaller to me. I'm just being honest.
And it's going to be $1 billion company. Last year they made around 800 million. So think of this is almost 50 million. That's close to, that's like 8% of your annual revenue. So just from this one show. So it's a lot. And doing two of these, that's say that's 100 million. So now you're way over 10%.
And Matt, the way we described it just before you hopped on is it kind of has a feel. These shows, while they're making big money for WWE, and while it does illustrate them as a global brand, they're going around all these places. It is pretty much like a glorified house show, in terms of what actually happens. It's a glorified house show. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, like you see the Undertaker, but there's no storyline progression. Like they don't build an angle with him to move forward. You just see him do a squash.
Right.
With Triple H, obviously they're going to build to Shawn and Triple H against Undertaker and Kane for the Saudi Arabia show. So they're doing, the Super Showdown. It'll be Taker and Triple H, and then from there they'll do the tag match. So they're getting the big stars out, but yeah, it's kind of like one-offs. So.
Do you get that? Do you get that feeling for Kane? I hate saying that. I love Glenn, but do you guys get that big feeling from him? I mean, we've seen him wrestle so many times just recently. I don't know.
I don't get the big feeling from him, but I guess we don't. It's not like we see him and Taker together that often. Still, I guess the nostalgia act of that. It's the same nostalgia as seeing Shawn and Hunter together.
Yeah, if it's Kane against anyone else, it's not a big deal. But Kane with the Undertaker, and then against Shawn and Triple H, DX against the Brothers of Destruction. It's like 2002 all over again.
Hey, it still sells.
Hey,
all right. So yeah, that's the thing. And I will be interested to watch this.
And I'll be excited for it.
Yeah, me too.
So the Saudi Arabia show is in early November, and it's like a week right after Evolution, and of course
days,
the big thing everybody knocks about the last Saudi Arabia show is obviously the lack of females and the culture and all that stuff. It is gonna be a little odd that WWE's gonna be promoting this women's revolution show, and then a few days later, you got
an all women show followed up by an all men show just days later. Oh.
Where were they at? Where the girls got to wrestle and they made like this earth-moving thing?
I think it was Dubai. I think was that
Dubai? Abu Dhabi. That was Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi. Sorry, Abu Dhabi.
Oh no, you might be right. Dubai. I think they wrestled in Abu Dhabi before.
It was a really big deal. I remember.
It was a big deal. Except TNA had done it before WWE, but WWE was definitely pushing it like they were the first.
I'll say this though, I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to do these Saudi shows for the next decade. That's what we're hearing. I wouldn't be surprised that and I'm just learning as we go here that apparently that people in power in Saudi right now, they are progressive. They are trying to do. They want to try. Hence, introducing a Western culture like WWE into the market. I bet you by the end of the 10 years they do have a women's match. I bet you WWE breaks that ground and is part of that PR thing of the first women's match there eventually.
For sure.
All right, so triple threat match is in place for Saudi Arabia. So I don't know if we'll see Brock again before that, but of course, if you have Paul Heyman doing the mic work, I don't know if you really need to see Brock. But going to Dean Ambrose versus Drew.
Well, real quick, in that they also Baron Corbin announced that later that night it'll be him against Roman for the title.
Yeah. When was the last time the title was defended on Raw?
It was a few weeks ago, right? Roman with Finn.
When's the last time it was? When was the last time it was defended versus a jobber?
But these were the first two Universal title matches in 18 months or something like that. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Baron Corbin makes the main event later that evening. We get Dean Ambrose, Drew McIntyre. I like this match. I thought this was good. I liked what I think Michael Cole said it off the top. He said he was looking forward to this match of two unorthodox styles, and I think that actually kind of did play out real well as these two back and forth. I specifically like the ending. Ambrose, he's outside. Looks like he's going to get counted out right at the count of 9. Dives back in, immediately gets nailed by the kick from McIntyre, and that's it. I thought this was just a
very good finish.
Really good finish, absolutely.
Drew, go ahead, Matt.
Sorry, no harm in that loss whatsoever. He doesn't get hurt by it. Drew continues to get built, and it, like I said, it doesn't hurt him though. Like that's a very believable finish. He doesn't look weaker for it. He looks tougher trying to get in the ring on 10, but oops. There's a boot to your mush for your trouble. No one's getting up from it. You know what I mean? Like that made perfect sense. I love the way that was booked.
Yeah, they're protecting that Claiborne kick. No one's kicked out of it. Even at the pay-per-view, Drew's it's clear they got huge plans for him. He hasn't been beaten since he's been on the main roster since coming back. He looks like a superstar. He's got everything. And he's great in the ring. I thought, Dean Ambrose, he's hit or miss in the ring, really.
Drew's a better worker. I'm sorry. Everyone's always so used to the bigger guy not being the better worker.
Right.
Drew, other than Dolph, which ironically is his tag partner, you know what I mean? In that whole angle, there's not many, maybe Seth. But nobody else is better than Drew, like work rate wise. Drew is good. Real good.
Yeah, they had the match of the night last night. That tag match was probably the best match on the show.
Oh, how great was that?
Yeah.
And how interesting, when Drew had his first run in WWE and he was anointed by Vince himself as the chosen one.
He was right to do it.
And then, that didn't pan out. There's some things happened that didn't pan out. I think the last thing we saw before he left is he was doing, 3M, right. And now he's back, and it looks like, he is truly the chosen one now. Like the way he's moving.
He looks like a different person now, too. I mean, by changing his hair, growing the beard, he looks a lot. I don't know if older is the right word, but more mature.
A little bit more seasoned.
Yeah, and he looks
but
like
not
a man
old
now as opposed to a boy.
Yeah, right. He's only 30. He's only 33, so he's got a lot of years.
Yeah, and you could always see it. Cornette used to say this about me. I was a puppy with big paws, meaning I'm still growing into my working body, so to speak. I was going to improve every day in wrestling because I was still so green. But I have potential. That's what basically it means. Same with his body. You could see it from like when he used to do dark matches for us when we used to be over in the Scotland area, England, anywhere in the UK. Drew McIntyre was like super skinny, tall but super skinny, and then he started putting on some size. Then when he got signed, he put on a little bit more size, but he was still stringy looking. Now that dude's got the perfect build in pro wrestling.
Yeah, it's not like overly muscular, but it's thick. It looks
like an action figure. It looks like everything you said. He's everything to be a star.
I compare it to Randy Orton, just that prototypical perfect kind of,
even bigger though.
With a little bit more meat and muscle, believe it or not. He's a big boy.
Yeah, he's a little thicker, like more
and the legs muscle. Too. He's a big dude. So talented. Again, his work rate is crazy good. Like, did you guys see when he got released from WWE? He went right to work. Like, he was having like 5-star matches at Ring of Honor. Was that Pro Wrestling Evolution or something like that? Pro-Ev, whatever the hell it's called.
Pro Wrestling Gorilla. Did he go there?
He went he was something EV, something EV, Evolve.
He was working overseas a lot at ICW and.
Well, we know those, but there was one specific one that Gabe Sapolsky was running.
It might have been Evolve. I forgot that he would work there.
He was just lighting it up with everybody, and people are like, "Oh, wow, this dude really wants it." And you could tell he wanted it. He wasn't like when I first got released and I was doing indies. I'm not gonna say I just phoned it in, but I wasn't looking to go have 5-star matches with guys either, which is the wrong attitude to have, admittedly. But that, you know what I mean? He could have done that and still make his payday and still get invited back because he was a star. But he didn't. He chose to, work and get better. Yeah. Look what the end result is. He's going to be a world champion.
Yeah, and you're right. Yeah, it was Evolve. He was ICW, Evolve, and Pro Wrestling Gorilla. So, and did some stuff with What Culture Pro Wrestling when they were around.
So we see Drew backstage after his win. We see him with his partner Dolph Ziggler. Baron Corbin comes up and talks about how he's going to take on Roman Reigns later in the night, but he also talks and convinces Dolph Ziggler to go ahead and have a match and enact his rematch clause for the IC title against Seth Rollins. He says that Rollins is hurt and isn't even in the building, and then if he doesn't show up, that Ziggler will become champion because the title will be stripped off of Seth Rollins. So they build to that. And Corbin continues talking to some staffer, probably a writer, about how great he is at his job, making 2 title matches later in the night.
Can I say something? I gotta say this. Baron Corbin is like 1,000 times better on the mic since he's become general manager.
That was the idea for it.
And it's worked great. I mean, he seems comfortable. He would always seem so awkward on the mic, and like it's so scripted and robotic. And he is just so much better now.
It's hard to argue.
Yeah, I think that was the point of him being put in this role with an authority thing. It was to make him get him out of a shell.
That's always it's usually always the reason. It really is. You can't rely on your size. You can't rely on in-ring physicality. You can't rely on athleticism. You got to rely on your facials and your voice inflections and things like that. You have to get better. You won't have that spot very long. So he's done that. You got to give him that.
Yeah.
Although every time I watch him work now that he's in this gimmick, I feel like I'm like, God, it's got to be so uncomfortable wearing those dress clothes, sweating, and I don't know, working the match. And then I don't know.
Ugh, I hate that.
It's the only thing they got to tinker with. They got to change that.
Yeah. We see another backstage after that. We see Natalya with the Bella twins. Ronda Rousey walks in. Everybody embraces. They're all best friends. Yippee-yay. And basically, Ronda says that she wants to do an open challenge. She's asking them, girls, how do I do an open challenge? So Matt, could you tell us, how does one do an open challenge?
Okay, well, it's a special WWE secret, all right, girl. And we've been doing it for years. So you're in the club. I'm gonna tell you. Come here. Let's go in the bathroom.
Yeah, like there's a special. I don't know. So they tell her just go out there and you wear what you wish for and go get them, girl.
I hate with it. They put the women. They treat them like sorority sisters, all of them. Like they're all clumped together in these different groups, and except for Dana Brooke, she's the only one that's like not affiliated with anyone now.
Yeah,
but they're just chatty, and I don't know. It's just I think
chatty.
You gotta do more special stuff with Rousey.
They're chatty.
You know what I mean? They're it's not.
Bunch of chatting.
No, she doesn't come across as like the biggest superstar in the company in these segments.
I can't believe they've managed a way to do it, but they have found their way to do it.
Yeah, I mean she's still super over, but they're bringing her down every as much as they can.
Well, hey, real quick, at the pay-per-view last night, Nat's holding her arm up. Did you not think the turn was coming?
I did.
I did too. All right.
She had that look on her face, even though I was like, but they're going to do Nikki Bella, so why would they do the turn
now?
now?
Do it now? I think I was just hoping for it. Maybe that's what it was.
She also had that look, like that very, like, I'm going to turn on you. Like that I'm going to turn on you smile.
Yes. It's like, do it. This is clothes on right now.
So Ronda goes and finds a special contract she has to fill out to do an open challenge. So we'll get back to her in a little bit later. We see a fresh matchup here. Chad Gable, who's being paired right now with Bobby Roode, he goes up against Victor of the Ascension. And never mind the surroundings of Gable and Roode and how weird that is, but I actually enjoyed this. It wasn't long, but it was longer than what most matches are with Victor or any of the guys from the Ascension. Actually, a really good match. Chad Gable, obviously super athletic. I tweeted this. He reminds me, watching him move, he reminds me of a stronger, but he reminds me of a stronger version of Owen Hart, the way that he was moving and some of the movesets he did, which I thought was interesting that I thought that because Victor, as most people don't know this, Victor is actually a veteran. He trained in the Hart Dungeon in Calgary. So
what a compliment though you just gave him.
But I mean, I don't know what you think of him, Matt. Chad Gable though, I mean, he's a stud.
He's awesome.
Hard to argue that he's not nasty in that ring. He is. It's just, which is crazy because he has all the charisma in the world.
Mm-hmm.
He does have tons of charisma. I just don't know what. Is it just the booking? Maybe it's just the booking that has soured me on him. I don't know.
Yeah,
well, he's had booking misfortune from the moment they split up. Him and Jason Jordan.
I can usually get past that sometimes with certain talents. I'm just not doing it with him and Bobby. Bobby's hurting me too.
Oh gosh, man, they're smiling and the little inset promo that they did. It's freaking brutal, and it's like it's got to be so over the top, right? Like they can't be thinking this is a good idea. It's got to be Bobby Roode's going to clobber Gable one of these weeks. Right? It's got to be.
I mean, they're giving him the Colt Cabana in what do you call those? Inset promos, like you said.
Yeah.
Like they used to give the guys in the 80s.
And they're all smiling, and Bobby Roode's like, "You're doing it great. You're doing glorious, great." And it's gosh, so brutal. It's like, what are you doing to him? It's got to be a turn. Otherwise, oh my gosh, this is.
Dude, real Bobby Roode is throwing up inside his mouth.
Oh man, his smiling is so corny right now.
Ugh,
So Chad Gable ends up getting the win. They tease Connor Connor tries to get some outside interference. Chad Gable gets the win. After this, though, we see.
So that what that means. That means next week it's going to be Connor against Bobby Roode.
Crisscross.
So basically 4 weeks of the Ascension versus Bobby Roode and Chad Gable.
Yes. Yeah, no, he's right. You're right. Yeah.
And that's usually how it goes. I will say this is something interesting. Maybe I'm just reading too much into this. So after the match is over, Chad Gable and Bobby Roode, they're celebrating and everything's so glorious, and then Connor attacks both of them from behind, and then Connor just walks off by himself. And normally, wouldn't you think like once you attack the other guys, that you like grab like your tag partner or walk out your tag partner? But he straight up just went out on his own. I thought that was odd. Maybe I'm thinking way too much, but I thought that was just a little unique. That maybe like they were spotlighting just him. I don't know.
I took it as they're just building to another match between them. Even though Roode and Gable have won every one, I think it's fair to say that the Ascension lost this feud. But yeah, that's how I took it. But maybe. I mean, Connor and Victor aren't. They're not making magic together. So.
Well, and I've said this. I mean, Connor, we haven't seen a lot of him. The only way you'll really see Connor work is if you watch him at a house show. And he's good for his size. And I've said this: if you look at him, he's a big hoss. You look at his size, and, he's got a look. I mean, that's a guy that where if you hit a reset button and you try to actually build some credibility, that's I don't know. I've always thought that they kind of are just wasting him and not even giving somebody new a chance, somebody fresh a chance.
He should be repackaged for sure.
Yeah. So we'll see where it goes, but you're probably right, Raj. We'll probably just crisscross between those two teams. Seth Rollins, glad to see he showed up at work an hour and a half after the TV show
Get
starts.
fined for that.
He should.
You never bitched about The Rock doing that.
That's true. Seth Rollins arrives, finds out that he's going to have an IC title match, and if he doesn't do it, he will be stripped of that. So he reminds everybody it's Monday Night Rollins. He walks off. And we get what everybody wants to see, the advertised appearance of The Undertaker. So this this is the top story of the night for sure. We touched on it a little bit earlier, but we'll go in depth here. So Triple H comes to the ring, or Taker comes to the ring, talks about Triple H last week, cutting the promo, saying, Taker's lost all of Triple H's respect. Taker responds, kind of very par for the course Taker response.
Yep.
But what really catches everybody's attention is Taker acknowledges that that Shawn Michaels is not going to go all the way to Australia and just sit in the crowd. He knows that Shawn Michaels could be a factor at Super Showdown in Melbourne, Australia. So just to make sure that the odds are even, Taker announces that his brother Kane will be there in his corner, which that obviously gets the big pop. That is the big headline story of this. So now we know we're going to see The Undertaker versus Triple H for the last time with Shawn Michaels at Triple H's corner, Kane in their corner. Matt, is this leading to, with all the talk of Shawn coming out of retirement, is this leading to a tag match perhaps at Saudi Arabia a few weeks later?
Yeah, it feels right. It does.
Yeah, it seems weird to. I don't know, Shawn coming back after all these years to do it in a tag match. But I know it's the money, They want all this money. Shawn probably doesn't want to do a singles match.
He's protected.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
And those guys will work they could all work a great match with doing nothing because they're such big superstars that it's the Rock Hogan thing. You don't have to be doing all these athletic moves.
We want to see a super kick teased a few times, then connected. We want to see a couple suck-its. You know what I mean? We just want to see that stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's pretty much definitely leading to that tag match. Now, I'm assuming it's going to be Taker and Kane unless Kane gets a bunch of crap for doing a match while he's mayor.
Right.
I was thinking about that as soon as you guys said that earlier. I think you guys alluded to it last week. It could be a tag match.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking that immediately, going, how would that play out with his new role?
Mm-hmm.
You know, does he get heat for it? Does he not? You know what I mean? Not everybody understands pro wrestling.
Yeah. Well, remember Jesse Ventura when he was governor of Minnesota? He was the special referee at SummerSlam, you know, that one year. So.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta think. You know, I mean, first off, he's Kane's elected, so it's not like they're gonna they can't just throw him out of office a couple weeks later because he reformed. But yeah, I don't know. I think so much he used the Undertaker to help do fundraising and having a special meet and greet appearance. I mean, he used a lot of his obviously his WWE platform to help get whatever he needed, whether it was funding or just in front of people's faces. So, I mean, I think it's probably I got to think his constituents is going to accept the fact that they might see their mayor playing a character on television every now and again.
Yeah.
I mean, the president of the United States is a reality show star, so I mean, it's not like it's new stuff anymore for him.
Yeah.
All right, so we see the video. They're obviously promoting Connor's Cure a lot this month. We see a video of some of the local kids who are getting to have their wrestling characters. Bayley and Sasha bringing them out on the stage. They get to do the entrance with Bayley and Sasha. Cut to break. Coming up next, Bayley versus Dana Brooke. And I got to say this. I know that this is probably not going to be a popular opinion by anybody watching this or the chat room or whatever. Bayley gets the win in this match. Delivers a vicious knee to Dana Brooke, by the way. But Dana Brooke, from the last time we really saw her in the ring, which before all the Titus Worldwide stuff, which was a little over a year ago, like she's actually gotten much better in the ring. If anybody remembers what she was prior, she's made considerable leaps and bounds progress.
That is exactly what I thought too. I put that in my notes. I was like, man, Dana looked the best I think I've seen her look in a long time.
If Glenn was here, he'd be going bananas. He's a huge mark for her.
Is he really?
Yes, but she deserves it. She's improved. You can't say she hasn't.
Yeah, this was the best she was looked.
Yeah, that knee though. If you saw that knee that Bayley gave her was vicious.
Yeah, this was a good match. I mean, it was short, but it was good. And I don't think I've ever said that about a Dana Brooke match. No. Kudos to her. She's improved a lot.
Yeah, good for her. So Bayley gets the win. So not really much to do there.
They're running in place, her and Sasha.
Yeah. We see Drake Maverick and the Authors of Pain. They bully somebody backstage. They head into the ring. Coming up next, Authors of Pain. We see them against two more local guys, Gregory James and Barrett Brown, if anybody cares.
I did mention this on last night's podcast, but we were talking about how much the enhancement talents are paid. So I found out now currently what they make is $200 to appear, and then it's $200 if they're physical. So,
but then they
an additional $200 if they're physical. So, and
they can actually also get more. They can also get some considerable bonuses if there's a. I know a couple guys in the past where if they're there as extras, and there needs to be a spot rehearsed. Like I know back when Ryback was going through jobbers, I know of some people who they did a rehearsal spot that was a little more physical than what they wanted to use any of their own guys for, and they wrote them a bonus check for being willing to be basically the guinea pig, so to speak.
Yeah.
So extra.
I don't know why you just didn't take my word for it when I answered this question like 2 months ago.
Well, it's changed since then.
$50. I said $500.
Yeah, so it's changed like $300 for if you're not being physical, you're only paid $200.
You just said it's $450.
No, it's $200 if you're not physical, like the security guards.
It's not $200 plus $250. Okay,
no, and it's another $200, just another $200 if you're in a match or physical. So $400 or $200, depending on if you wrestle or not, or get thrown around.
Well, still a better payday than probably Gregory James or Barrett Brown are getting on the normal indie nights to get a few minutes of a few seconds of national TV time. They get beat by the Authors of Pain. Are you guys behind this Drake Maverick?
Yes,
Spike Dudley kind of look to him.
I am not with that crap on. I'm not, but as a manager who's diminutive like that, he's the ideal referee or ideal manager because it makes everybody around him look bigger. P.S. He's super talented and got pretty much world beater promos when he wants to.
Yeah.
He's awesome, but they're not having him do much talking, and he's such a great talker.
But eventually, I have a feeling they'll get there. I do.
Yeah, and they need to get him out of that outfit. He just looks ridiculous in it.
He does.
But other than that, I think it's a great pairing.
But maybe the ridiculous outfit adds to the heat. You know, here's the little barking dog with his two big dogs, and he's dressing like the big dogs.
Yeah, I just have a hard time taking it serious.
He looks
authors
like,
of Pink. Oh, so go ahead.
He looks like a middle-aged husband trying to be kinky for his wife. It looks horrible.
Taking some of that blue chew, huh?
Yeah.
Promo code Inc. Yeah, I just think AOP, they're supposed to be this, a serious tag team that that are supposed to be devastating. So when you have a serious tag team, to have something that distracting on the side.
And it is a little distracting. You're right.
Yeah.
Well, Authors of Pain dominant. I mean, who challenges them? What, Gable and Bobby Roode? I mean, who's even there to challenge them? Well,
good. Maybe that's why they were put together.
To be fed to them, or
yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, there's not really many tag teams right now. You got the Revival, but AOP are clearly heels right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Matt Hardy pretty much retired. So yeah.
So we get another backstage, Ziggler and Rollins leading up to their match, go to break. Ziggler versus Rollins, another, I don't really know what to say that probably hasn't been said at length in the previous weeks and months of watching these two guys. Another match you'd expect from them. Very, very, very good, very well done. Seth Rollins gets a win here. I really don't have much more to say because it's just becoming standard.
Yeah. I think they're doing the matches that we were expecting them to be doing when they first started feuding, and now their feud is kind of over, and now they're having the really great matches that they weren't having early on. You know what I mean? Like when they had that Iron Man match, it didn't really knock anyone dead, and the crowd reaction was part of it, but also I don't think it lived up to the expectations that a lot of people had. And now they killed it last night on pay-per-view in that tag match, and I thought this match was really good too. But
a lot of that's the reformation of the Shield. A lot of that is making them emotionally invest in the Shield as a unit. Those two, you know what I mean. That even though he was crazy over, Rollins, I would argue, was even more over singularly, right?
Oh yeah, I think they brought him down.
It's something with, maybe it's Dolph. I don't know what it is, but you're right. It's different right now. It's better.
But yeah, we've seen this match a billion times now.
Yeah. So Seth Rollins gets the win. We see Roman Reigns backstage doing a quick interview. Again, just hyping the match. He's going to have a Baron Corbin where he's going to defend the title later on in the night. Hispanic Heritage Month, we get that video celebrating that. And then we finally come to the Ronda Rousey. She's ready and figured out how to do an open challenge. She comes to the ring, talks about she wants to be the champion for the fans. She wants to be like Stone Cold Steve Austin, like Bret Hart.
You're going to get booed here. Keep dropping those names.
And she's dropping the names, and she says all this. She says she wants to be like Austin. She wants to be like Bret Hart. She wants to be like Ric Flair. And then she says something. I'm pretty sure that Ric Flair, Bret Hart, or Steve Austin never used the word gumption when challenging somebody to come out and fight her. But she said, "Who has the gumption?"
What the hell? WWE's writing. That's WWE's writing, obviously, right? Did she miss the part where they were told her to say Matt Morgan? Did I miss that? Did I miss that? Gumption. That's horrible. God, that's horrible. Dang it, you idiots.
That's got to be a Vince word, right? Gumption.
Yeah.
It's a writer's word, man. That's so annoying.
Yeah.
Gumption. I've been trying to like reenact Steve Austin ever. How could Stone Cold ever make gumption sound cool? I don't think so.
I will say this though, Rousey, outside of the gumption, she's getting way more comfortable in her promos.
Yes, with everything. Her facials, her selling last night at the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I thought she did a lot better. She's getting better, man.
Yeah. She's gotten a lot better. I didn't think she should be selling that much for Alexa Bliss.
No, she shouldn't. But by the way, one punch should knock Alexa Bliss out.
Yes. Yes.
Never should she punch Alexa Bliss.
Well, for the call of gumption, and Natalia's music hits, the delayed entrance for Natalya, and then we see the Riot Squad dragging Natalya out to the stage. They obviously attacked her just as she was trying to find the gumption to come answers to the challenge. So we get
one thing I didn't like about this is I felt like when Natalia's music hit, Rousey should have been like kind of shocked and disappointed, or
right?
like just surprised, as opposed to being like, oh hey, we're gonna have a nice match, I just think she, remember how Hogan was when Andre turned on him, like, crying and
Dude,
on the ground.
I cried. Yeah, of course.
I'm not expecting that, but a little more surprise and emotion that your friend is, kind of turning on you.
Yeah.
No, that's definitely a good call. She did not. She just kind of had the smile, like, oh, it's Natty.
Yeah.
The Riot Squad comes out, and all hell breaks loose. Riot Squad's obviously
they're dragging Natalya out.
Yeah, they got the numbers game, dragging Natalya out. They got the numbers game. They get in the ring. Rousey's, trying to handle them each. I gotta say, one thing that stood out. Ruby, I think it was Ruby had a nice spear. She gave a nice spear to Ronda Rousey. I thought that was just kind of stood out. And that was right before the Bella Twins come out to make the save to even things up. The Bella Twins standing tall with their best friend Ronda Rousey.
Best friends forever. They're always best friends.
I like this segment until the Bellas came out.
Yes, I was just gonna. Okay, good. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, just something about it. I don't know what.
It's fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the Riot Squad. They have a little bit of something where you kind of could believe like they could take Rousey down, like the three of them.
Yeah.
But the Bellas saving them, needing to save Ronda Rousey, I don't know. It just doesn't. It just can't take it.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so what are we looking for here? I mean, they're gonna team together. It's a six woman team in Australia. I mean, is this where Nikki Bella turns on Rousey to set up a Nikki Bella Rousey at Evolution? Is that what we're looking for here, Raj?
Say you don't care, Raj. Say I don't care.
Sadly, what I think they're gonna do is afterwards they do a backstage segment on Raw where Nikki's like, I would love to have a match with you, and she's like, oh, I'd like to have a match with you. Let's do it. I'm serious. I'm telling you, that's what I think they're gonna do. It's something along those lines.
They made Ronda Rousey part of the Powder Puff Girls.
Yes.
They've managed a way to make her be a dandelion. She's a badass. Let's let her be her. Stay out of her way.
Yeah, give her something heated. Give her something with like real emotion and like you just really want to see her get at somebody.
Yep.
These friendly matches.
No, hell no.
Well,
what do you think, Justin?
I don't really have much more of an opinion because I can't top your Valley Girl voice impression. No, I could definitely see it the way you presented it with them just kind of like they like Ronda and the Bellas win in Melbourne, Australia, and then like the next Raw, they're like so happy they won, and Nikki's like, now that we had this great team, let's try to see who's the better woman at this historic night for the women called Evolution. I mean, I could totally see that for sure. I'd rather there be a heel turn, but I could totally see that.
Yeah.
Again, who cares? I'm not trying to be a dick to you guys. I'm just saying, like, for the show itself, like, I don't care.
It's probably the main event.
Do you know what I mean? I should care.
Glenn was here.
I just don't. You know what I mean, though? Like, we should care. I should care. I can't be the only one who doesn't care how that match gets booked and how it gets there. All right, we all just want to see her versus Charlotte WrestleMania. Fast forward.
And even that's not a given. Wrestling Observer newsletter says it's been talked about, but by no means is that necessarily going to happen.
They'll always go back to Charlotte. They'll always go back to Charlotte.
And plus, who else do they got?
Becky's is in Fuego right now.
Becky is. That's true.
But
Becky's over like Rover.
Yes, she is.
All right, so we see backstage, we see an interaction of Corbin and Braun Strowman. Strowman just reminding everybody that he's not aligned with Baron Corbin. He basically says, Corbin sucks, and that Braun knows that he can take him down at any time. So coming up next, we get the tease. We are going to have Elias, one of the top segments always, usually. Elias does his guitar break, does the Walk with Elias bit, and then he's interrupted. He takes some shots at the Dallas Cowboys, does the whole local thing. And then he's interrupted by Lio Rush. And this was very entertaining.
I loved it.
If you're listening to this podcast and you didn't watch Raw, this is worth checking out.
My favorite segment.
Yeah, in addition to the Undertaker promo,
This was my. Yep.
yeah, Lio Rush comes out, interrupts real quick Elias, and Elias then asks, "Whose kid is this?"
That was such a great one.
So good.
Elias's delivery was so good here, and Lio was just off the hook. He was awesome.
And so Lio keeps shutting it down, saying it's okay, and is introducing himself. And Elias continues to figure that this kid needs to go to Lost and Found, that somebody's parent needs to be buzzed. So Lio introduces. Wait, let me see if I can say it. Lio introduces my man, Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley versus Elias in another match with Lio Rush on commentary. Lio, I mean, entertaining. He can certainly work the mic. He was entertaining on the mic and entertaining on commentary.
It could work too.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Matt. What have you seen of Lio Rush? Did you see anything of him prior to coming to WWE?
Oh, I take that. No, I've seen him NXT house shows many times. Though I go to the NXT house shows. They're all local. They're near where I live.
Yeah.
And he's nasty. He is nasty. But I would go with people that have never been before, and you know what the instant reaction to him is pretty much what old boy's reaction was. Whose kid is this?
Yeah.
You know?
He looks 15.
He does. But he can fly around that ring, man, and he can get some sympathy on him. And he's a good worker. I like him. He's athletic as hell.
He's so fast. Like I've seen him in ROH and on 205 Live. You watch his stuff. He looks like he's in fast motion.
Yes.
Fast forward.
Fast forward.
I mean, it's amazing how quick that kid is.
I'll say this to you guys. You're gonna think I'm nuts for saying this. If we're talking pay-per-view posters, no, I'm not going to compare him to Bobby Lashley. Okay, aside of the WWE truck, I'm not going to compare him to Bobby Lashley. In the ring, you let them both go into that same arena. I guarantee you, Lio Rush would do a better job of getting those fans to emotionally invest in his match than Bobby would.
He kind of did tonight.
It's not Bobby's fault, by the way, but it's the truth.
I think they could do some cool stuff. Lashley and him against Elias and Kevin Owens. All of a sudden, I'm like, that'd be a fun match.
Cool.
Like
that's a
Bobby
cool
Lashley
angle.
just throwing Lio on top of him, and Lio doing all this flips.
Yep. And the two perfect heels.
Yeah, Lashley needs to turn heel if he's with Lio because Leo's such a natural heel. But this was great.
Yeah, Bobby does need. Yeah.
Well, we might be heading to that tag match, Raj, because
Feels like it.
Owens comes out. Talk about fast forward. Lio does some crazy acrobatics to get away from Owens.
That was so cool.
It remind me of the John Morrison parkour
stuff.
That's what it kind of reminded me of.
Badass.
But he gets around Owens, and so Elias ends up winning by a DQ. But it definitely looks like that's what we're headed towards on an upcoming Raw. Is this, which obviously the biggest benefit out of this is for Lio Rush, who what an entrance onto Monday Night Raw for him.
Yep.
Yeah, he kind of stole the show. I mean, for the fans once he started doing that, the fans were into it.
Second or third best thing of the night, I thought.
Yeah.
What was after this?
We go into the women, the women's. I hate to call it, but this is called the filler before the main event. It's Mickie James and Alicia Fox, along with Alexa Bliss in their corner, up against Ember Moon, and she has to find a partner tonight. Who's going to be her partner? And it turns out Nia Jax, returning Nia Jax. She's been off TV for a little bit for injury, so we hear.
A few months, yeah.
Yeah. So Ember Moon and Nia Jax versus Mickie James and Alicia Fox. Nia and Ember get the win. Of course, they're playing off the fact that Nia and Alexa were once best friends, and Alexa's out there. So playing off this, ultimately Nia Jax and Ember Moon get the win here. I mean, I don't know. Raj, did I miss anything? Was there anything else we're supposed to really take away from this?
No, not really.
Yeah. So there it is. Obviously, a lot of it they plugged it during it. The Evolution plugged the fact that Alexa Bliss will be taking on Trish Stratus. Plugged the fact that we'd see Mickie James, or was it Mickie James and Lita, or who's taking on Lita? Lita and
Mickie James.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So they plugged a lot of that, but that was pretty much it. Nia and Ember get the win. So now we're down to the main event. Baron Corbin, real quick, we see him backstage with the referee telling him he wants the referee to call it right down the middle, fair and square. Baron Corbin, Roman Reigns. For a main event, Matt, and again, I don't hate on Roman Reigns and I don't hate on Baron Corbin. I think I defend these guys more often when they're getting bashed by the internet. But this match just all the rest hold and just not the pace that I felt that you would need at least to start for what's supposed to be the main event title match. I know it's a title match, and I'm not expecting a title change, but it's still a title match. I got the title entrances, so it was just kind of a really slow start.
Two big guys. We have two big guys. It's hard. And in their defense, look how they started last night's match with two big guys in the main event. They started with friggin' weapons like right away. Roman Reigns pulled a table out and nobody cheered. That's impossible.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's Roman. I don't know what it is. But two big guys like that, you're not going to have that fast duck one, you know what I mean? Duck two, and create movement with the other guy because they're both big dudes. Roman would have to be the one creating the movement in that ring, but
yeah, because Corbin's
he's too big.
He's slower. His matches are slower paced as it is, and without much happening. I mean, Roman. Yeah, I mean, we've seen it. He can go with the right guys. Baron Corbin's not that guy. But that being said, by the end of this match, the crowd was hot for it.
Yeah, it was.
They were.
It was.
And they popped big for Roman winning at the end, even though you had Braun out there. And you know what? I would have been fine with this just ending with Roman beating Baron Corbin. You didn't have Braun come out because then it just felt like the last 3 weeks. Once you had the Pack and whatever, the Dog Pound or whatever they're calling themselves.
You're right. You're right. This would have been a good weekend to actually do it clean, no interruption. There's nothing wrong with that. He doesn't lose any heat by losing that way. He just doesn't because he can get it back the next week on that microphone.
Yeah.
No big deal. I don't know why they had to do that.
Well, and the fans were into this. Not only did they pop when Roman Reigns with the win, but even when Corbin throws the chair, which should be a DQ, but then he has the referee start it. The crowd got the heat got on Corbin for that. So I mean, they did buy into it. So I guess at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. They got him where they needed to get him, and then of course everybody starts to come out at this point. We see Braun Strowman come out right when Roman Reigns has the upper hand, getting ready to finish Baron Corbin. Braun comes out. Then we see Drew and Dolph come out. Then here comes the rest of the Shield, and it's all hell breaks loose. Roman Reigns ultimately the winner. Said and done. He gets the 3 count on Baron Corbin. Shield standing tall as the dogs, whatever their faction is, looks on.
Yeah.
And that's that. Roll the credits.
Yeah, I thought it was better than some recent weeks. It wasn't great. It wasn't overly, it wasn't a ton of new storylines or new direction, but still, I thought it was pretty good.
Sorry, it is like 1,000 degrees out there, you guys. I'm sweating bullets.
What were your thoughts on tonight's show, Matt?
I always give it a C+ because that's what the damn thing always earns. But this is no different.
Yeah, I kind of graded on a weighted scale now. So for Raw, it was.
They've tested so poor. They have a great curve.
Let's give it a B- because of Taker, simply because Undertaker was there. I mean, is that enough of a?
I say Taker. I like Lio.
Yeah, but they have 3 good segments every week. Is my point, and I give them a C+.
Right. When 20% of the show is good and then the rest is mediocre or bad. I'd say mediocre.
With the best roster they probably have ever had.
Yeah.
As far as in-ring talent goes, it's hard to argue that.
Yeah.
And so I don't, it just shows you the writers they're never going to get rid of them. They need to. It's never going to happen. That's the only way in my opinion, real wrestling will ever come back. The wrestling that makes you, when every talent is hitting on all cylinders because they're using extensions of themselves finally. That's the only way it's ever going to happen. Sometimes they get lucky and these guys are acting enough into these certain roles and it starts to work for them. But they're not really acting like an extension of themselves.
Yeah.
Not most of them, they don't. They're acting. They're in a role, and that's why there's so much disconnect for me.
Yeah, when people say times change and the business changes and change, and of course everything does. But the things that still work, as far as like good promos, you see that working elsewhere. There's no reason it wouldn't work in WWE. Like natural promos, natural characters.
You're right.
And real heated. You see it with Connor. You see when UFC does big business.
They're doing our formula.
Yeah.
Better than us.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I said from the beginning, you can have bright spots, Taker, Lio Rush, whatever. I don't think, as long as the show's 3 hours, they'll never be able to do a start to finish solid show because of the format they do. They have to rehash, they have to do recaps. It's very hard. It's not because they don't. It's not because of a lack of talent. They got a great roster, but it's
when they can no longer do it for the post-Mania show. Like the last couple of post-Mania shows have been a lot of slow spots on those. So.
Hey, guys, what's a good point? SmackDown is awesome.
2 hours.
2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? So maybe I'm wrong, and it is about just the hours. Maybe it's the time. It really maybe just is, because SmackDown to me is an entirely different feel. The storylines are just grittier. I like them way more. I'm sucked into pretty much almost all the SmackDown storylines right now.
Yeah, even an average 2 hour SmackDown feels so much better than a good Raw.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, AJ versus Joe last night was so good. Oh my God, that was so good.
Yeah, I like that finish.
Great finish, great match, great emotional investment on both characters. There's a storyline I can sink my teeth into. I believe that storyline. There's history between those two. Roman versus Braun, just two big guys going at it. They have good chemistry, but I don't buy their history together like I do Joe versus AJ. And it shows in the ring. It shows in their work. It shows in their facials. They believe it. That's the big difference.
The one thing I didn't like about the AJ Joe finish was I feel like it makes AJ look kind of weak.
How many since AJ's been champion? How many
matches has he won?
How many? How many controversial finishes has he had?
Think of
all the controversial finishes he had with Nakamura. Like really go back.
DQ at SummerSlam.
I don't know. There's been a lot of controversial finishes for him, which I don't know.
You know what's funny? I should be. I'm not thinking that way though, for whatever reason. I should be, but I'm not. I'm just really turned on by his matches, like the stories they're telling in there. I'm just so sucked in on that. You're right. As soon as you said it, I was like, oh crap! Yeah, he really hasn't been winning any matches cleanly. That's for sure, or with no dispute or anything hairy like that involved.
He has a Ric Flair run. He's held the title,
and he's a babyface.
but by the same token, I think of him as the star of that show. I do think of him as the world champion of that show, and I'm most entertained by his matches still. Like I just am.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I just think that they don't treat him special, and he's being the WWE champion. He should be protected more, treated like a bigger deal.
He should, but yet when that bell rings.
Oh no! There's nothing about his in-ring work. His in-ring is perfect. It's how they treat him in the storylines and the finishes and his match placement on the pay-per-views. Even on SmackDown, he's rarely on last.
Well, yeah, and as long as they have joint branded pay-per-views like they do now, I don't foresee him getting the last match main event spot on any of these pay-per-views. It's always going to be Roman.
There's also a stylistic reason for that, though, because of how he works. It's very different than your typical main event match with WWE.
Very true.
It's very fast-paced. It's different. And for whatever reason, they're stupid, by the way. They're not catching up to the way the business is going right now. Apparently, they missed All In, and they missed all these other types of shows like Ring of Honor. Well, that's where the business is now.
Yeah, I think they'd rather finish with a match that they know is gonna.
Two plotting guys, but they're just big.
Yeah, it was like WrestleMania. They'd rather finish with a match that they knew the crowd was going to crap on with Lesnar and Reigns. They knew the crowd was going to crap on it, but they'd rather finish with that than the WWE Championship match between AJ and Nakamura.
Yeah,
that's just where they see AJ. I mean, they don't see him as that big of a star.
How much politics are still involved with the two brands where they'll never give SmackDown a real fair shake on a joint pay-per-view? How much is that still happening?
A ton. You see it every month.
I know,
but that's going to change, you would think, when they go to Fox.
Is it by design because of the brand, though, is what I'm saying, versus just AJ being the champion and they're not that high on him as a champion finishing off the show versus they are Roman? Is it because of AJ, or is it because they view SmackDown as the lesser?
It's the SmackDown as the lesser. That's how it's always been. That's how it's always been.
Man,
well, and SmackDown does, Raw does much higher ratings than SmackDown.
Well, Matt, I'll put it to you this way. Vince McMahon's at about half the SmackDowns a month if he makes that. So that puts it in perspective right there. If he's not going to SmackDown TV, that tells you what you need to know.
Yeah.
So.
Maybe that's why it's good. How about that? How about that going halftime? How about that?
Yeah.
Well, and on that note, we'll close it out. Matt Morgan, give us the plugs.
Yes, go on your app store right now. It's at 12:30. I will answer your questions about tonight's Raw one-on-one on an app called Up Live. Go on your phone app store, type in Up Live in the search engine, download it, then look up the Blueprint Matt Morgan, and I'll be on in 5 minutes from now for the next 2 hours. A long night.
Raj?
The first part of our interview with Eli Drake went up today, and it's a busy week on the site. So
how was it?
How was it? 40. Eli Drake's awesome, and he talks a lot about how he doesn't like where the business is headed as far as less characters and less big storylines.
He's an old throwback, man.
Yep. Yeah.
Money promo too.
Oh,
he can talk.
He's got a ton of charisma. Dude should be a superstar.
When I went back to TNA, I was blown away by him because I didn't know much about him at all. I know he was some guy in WWE for a minute for a cup of coffee. Then they throw him in TNA on TV, and I was like, geez, they'll just hire anybody who was in WWE. Well, good, God bless that they did, because that dude is a stud and a half. He's a main event talent on any show. I don't care. He's good.
Super entertaining.
Yeah.
It's hard to find nowadays.
Yeah.
The new stuff every single day on Wrestling Inc. Make sure you check it out. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I'm Justin LaBar. Hit me up on Twitter. It's got everything I'm doing, links for podcast, Chair Shot Reality, and, of course, this podcast. We'll be back Wednesday with Glenn as we break down the 2 hours of SmackDown on Tuesday night. For Matt, for Raj, I'm Justin. Have a good night.